Hi, Jack Bennett here. Welcome to The Big Drum. Today I'm going to show you a fairly tame way of playing a 4/3 polyrhythm within a regular beat. In the Funk and Illusion drumming series, I went over one way of playing a 4/3 polyrhythm, which was this. I was playing a 3 on the hi-hat, and that was the pulse, so we're in 3/4 time, going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then with the other hand, just to get the rhythm to start with, accenting on every 3rd, 16th, and that gives you the two rhythms, and you get. Okay, and that's the polyrhythm. And what we did from there was we alternated between bass drum and snare drum with those 4 hits, and that got the kind of the beat that went against the 3, and you got this. Today, however, I want to show you a similar way of playing that exact same rhythm, but instead of the bass and the snare drum falling around the pulse, in that case we're in 3/4 time and I was playing on every 3rd, 16th, going 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1. This time we're going to play the pulse between the bass and the snare, and that's never going to change. So we're just going to play a regular beat going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But the hi-hat is now going to play on every 3rd, 16th. So we get this. Now, the reason why I said at the start a tamer way, that's kind of a funny expression to use for this beat, is that if we're to be playing a regular beat, and then all of a sudden we go into the first way, where we're going. Well, then what we're doing is we're really throwing the beat, because particularly when we throw where the snare drum lands, which is the backbeat, the kind of the glue that people really feel and recognize as the beat, if you throw that, then it really does throw the entire, well, it sounds like it throws the pulse, particularly if you don't keep the hi-hat going. But what we do in this case, if we just keep the bass and the snare going consistent, it sounds like we're still in 4/4 time and we haven't really changed anything. It sounds like what we're doing is more sort of ornamental on the top when we just throw the hi-hat rhythm out rather than the actual bass and snare sequence. So we can play a regular beat and then throw the hi-hat out. So that might be something that you want to use. You know, if you're going to use polyrhythms in your band or whatever, and you want to do it in a kind of a subtle way where you really don't throw the beat, it might just be a case of taking the polyrhythm, and if you've been doing, you know, say this one before, well, maybe don't do that one. Do the same rhythmic sequence, but maybe just keep the bass and the snare going and put it on the hi-hat. Do the second one that I showed you. So just to slow that down for you, the counting is exactly the same. We're playing 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Okay, so we're landing on 4, which is, you know, after 3 beats, then we start again. Why every 3 beats? Because we're accenting every 3rd, 16th, and that's not a coincidence. But because we are not playing in 3/4 time between bass and snare, it's not like we're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're alternating the whole way through. It actually doesn't resolve until 6 beats. So we get. Okay, so 2 lots of 3. It doesn't resolve until then. So that's the beat.